Cindy, y'all ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'd like to call this meeting to order for March the 5th, Tuesday, for our regular board meeting. Roll call, Ms. Cindy.
Ms. Janice Richards. Present. Mr. Tom Toller.
Here.
Ms. Robin Abrams. Here. Mr. Glenn Westmoreland.
Present.
Mr. Brett Duncan. Mr. Trent Anthony.
Here.
Mr. Jerry Moore.
Here.
Mr. Joey Piazza.
Here.
Ms. Rose Dominguez.
Present.
All right, this time I ask you to please stand while we post the colors.
Color guard. Halt. Left. Ace. Present. Color.
I'd like to ask, let me get the name right. Ms. Riley Walk is going to come do our pledge for us. Okay. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Order. Color. Right. Ace. Forward. Arch. Up. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Up. 2, 3, 4. Color guard. Halt.
I'd like to ask Captain Rainey to come forward, please, introduce his cadets for us tonight.
All up.
You may be seated.
So tonight, presenting the colors, we have our cadet commander is Chief Master Sergeant Sarah Strickland. Our state flag was Staff Sergeant Cole Mixon. Our senior rifle was Tech Sergeant Dwayne Hidalgo, and our junior rifle was Staff Sergeant Grayson Richardson. I'd like to thank Mr. Tom Toller and Ms. Billy for the opportunity for us to be here to present the colors. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'd also like to call up Ms. Matthews if she would come up, just so we can tell her thank you for hosting us. Thank you, Ms. Matthews, for having us tonight.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. First, I'd like to say thank you for coming to God's country tonight.
Amen.
For our board meeting. Here at Jules Sumner High School, we want to let you know that our mission here is to make sure that our students, we are meeting their educational needs in a safe learning environment. And our vision is to expect success. So we pray that tonight, every decision that you guys make will meet our vision and our mission for tonight. Couple of logistics about the building. So our building is very unique in the way it is formed. Okay, so we're in a circle here. So if you need to use the restroom, the ladies' restroom will be to the left, and the male's restroom will be to the right. And if you need anything, I'll be in the back. So thank you for having me.
Thank you, Ms. Matthews. All right, item C, consider approval of the board minutes from February the 20th, 2024.
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Mr. Anthony.
A second.
Seconded by Ms. Janice. Any questions? Any public input? Hearing none, I call for a vote.
Voting is now open. Voting is now closed. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Item 1D, consider approval of board minutes from March 1st, 2024. Motion by Mr. Westmoreland. Second by Ms. Dominguez. No public input, no questions. Call for a vote.
Voting is now open. Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
All right, thank you. Item 2A, discuss the accounts payable check register for January 16, 2024 to February the 15th, 2024, in the amount of $24,973,587.56. Mr. McNeely.
All right, I believe that y'all received that new board docs, so if there are no questions, I don't think there's any action that y'all.
There is none.
So if you do come up with any additional questions, just email me and I'll make sure to get a response on those. So if you want to move on to item B while I'm here.
Go ahead.
So an update on sales tax. I believe those were, they'll get them up on the screen. We've had good news with our sales tax. As I reported to you at the beginning of the year, there was quite a boom with sales tax coming off of Ida and COVID. There were concerns that maybe that would dwindle down, but thus far, so this last month, 6.6, I believe, % increase for February over the prior February. So that's quite an exciting number, which keeps us for the year at about 1.7% more this year than last year. Before you start wanting to spend those funds, remember the sales tax makes a small portion of our total revenue. MFP makes the largest portion of our revenue, and we were cut $4 million MFP this year. So we're hoping sales tax is up enough to cover what the state cut our MFP. Related to that is the half penny, and as soon as I get that one up there, it was up about 8%. If you notice, it's a little different because that tax exempts certain medical and groceries. So it has a little different percentage. But once again, that tax is doing very well, and that is the one that funds our raises. So we ask everyone to continue to shop at home, and we are seeing the fruit of people shopping at home, buying here, and also President Miller's move here. So we have people moving here, buying here, and shopping here. So our time is doing quite well.
Okay. All right, you want to move right into 3A, consider approval to receive proposed donation of sculpture for Hammond Eastside IB Upper School.
All right, this is the first one of these that I've had since I've been here, and we thought it prudent to bring it to the board for approval. It's a donation, not sure what the value of the donation is. If you remember at the last meeting, you approved something that if it's $25,000 or more, it needs to come to the board. I don't know if that's what the sculpture is valued at, but it's also a permanent fixture on one of our campuses that we felt it would be good to bring to the board. Dr. Lisa Gross I saw she's here tonight. If y'all have any questions, you should have received the email with a picture of it.
Right.
Do you have anything you would like to say since you drove all the way up here?
Just that we're excited about the opportunity, and Dr. Wells, the gentleman who is donating, is also.
Oh, certainly, if you would like to come.
I'm here just to answer questions.
Jody, yeah.
Do what?
Did you have a copy of the, with the, I'm sorry, do you have a copy of,
It's attached to our board docs, but it looks like it may be partial,
It's like half of a picture.
quarter of a picture?
but we have seen the picture of it. At first, I thought it was a piece of playground equipment.
Yeah.
And if you put that out here, kids will play on it.
Do you have a better picture? Do you have a all-time picture, Ms. Grove?
You have a full picture of it? It's chopped up into the... Yeah, right here.
Right.
That's it right
Oh,
there.
gotcha.
It's 12 foot wide, 15 foot long, and 11 foot tall.
Do we have a spot?
Yeah, I was gonna say, did we determine what spot we were going to?
I was talking to Dr. Grill earlier, and we're trying to anticipate where it might go. I mean, we want it to be in a situation where more people than just the students could see it, but we want to definitely make sure that the students get to look
Right.
at it. And between the art students and the math students, I mean, there's a lot of calculations that go into making something like that. And so that's one of those situations where you just turn around and you have a totally different department looking at it and even saying, okay, I'll calculate how much it weighs.
Right.
So, and that was one of the things that I love about art and sculpture. I've been all over the world, and I've probably traveled to 1,500 different universities. And it seems to be that the universities with the most sculptures do the best. So I don't know if it's the sculptures or if it's the students that are attracted to it. But, so that was my reason, and I contacted Dr. Rowe. And this sculpture originated at LSU for a senior project for an architect student. And that was 50 years ago. And it's been to Shreveport, it's been to Texas, and I bought it at an estate sale right outside of Liberty in Gloucester.
Right.
And some people bidding on it, they were wanting to scrap it, and
Yeah,
I
couldn't see that.
That's how we acquired it.
And look, I struggled through art in school, but looking at the piece of art, do you know of any particular message or anything that it's trying to portray as far as what it's saying?
That the original artist lives in Thailand now. He's been there for 15 years. He went there on a construction project and never left. But he said that what he was doing was studying objects in space. And that gave him the incentive to do it. And if you look at it, it's primarily made up of dihydron all over the place in different sizes and different shapes. And if you really get far back, you see the whole sculpture is one. So it's really unique.
Right.
And I'm hoping that if we get to put it there, that the students are really adopt it. And one of our goals is to have some type of a situation where the students themselves get the name. It's never had a name. And that would be nice to put a plaque on there with the name.
Okay. Any other questions from the board, Joey?
I just want to note that I didn't ask a bunch of questions on this board tonight to you, so I just want everybody to know that. But two, I do want to tell you, sir, thank you for your gift. Like I said, what the rest of the board does tonight, I can't speak on, but for me, thank you for thinking of our students, thinking of our facilities.
It's our pleasure, my pleasure. My wife and I were both former educators, and we're both retired now, and we love the kids, and we love that component of education of getting them back down to earth. So that was the gift from us to it.
So as far as board action, do we need to go ahead and make a motion? Okay, do I hear a motion to accept the donations? Mr. Westmoreland? Second by Mr. Piazza. Any discussion? No public input? Call for a vote.
Voting is now open. Voting is now closed. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Motion passes unanimously. Item 3B, consider approval of resolution regarding employment of special counsel Bernard Charbonnet, Mr. Valaruta.
Yes, sir. For the special counsel for Mr. Bernard Charbonnet, we need a construction lawyer, an in-house construction lawyer. Mr. Charbonnet has had 45 years of construction law. He also currently teaching for the past 20 years at Southern University Law School. He has been lead attorney on a number of large, multi-$100 million projects to include the recovery school districts from New Orleans, a counsel for them. He's worked as our lead attorney for Jackson International Airport, City of Alexandria, Alexandria International Airport, Jefferson Parish, Louisiana, City of Freeport, Chicago O'Hare International Airport, just to name a few.
Okay. Do I hear that in the form of a motion so we can discuss it?
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Anthony made a motion.
Second.
Second by Mr. Moore. Any questions from the board? Go ahead.
Is this thing on? I didn't tap it. Okay, we good?
Go ahead.
Better? Oh, no, I might have just turned it off. Good now?
Go ahead, just speak.
Okay, I'll just talk. Is there, just curious, is this something that, that one of our attorneys on retainer could possibly handle? You feel like, you know, instead of going to hire an additional attorney, feel like we got a whole bunch of them kind of following us around already, you know?
It appears to be conflict of interest and not having somebody that's specific to construction law.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that we wanted was to get someone that specializes in construction with some of the questions and things that we have and some of the possible litigation we have coming up.
Can you expand on what you mean it might be a conflict of interest?
In the search for an attorney to handle this construction side, there's been attorneys that said that it's possible there was a conflict of interest because they're already on retainer with us, and then they would be on retainer with architects and/or contractors as well.
Aren't we employing them to look into the Ponchatoula High School?
Full roof specifically. Yes.
I don't understand why our attorney, like Mr. Moody, the contract's gonna call for arbitration. I don't understand why he can't arbitrate that claim at a much lower rate than this proposed attorney. I don't understand why he couldn't handle it. He would be bringing in the bonding companies for the architect and for the contractor, and he's, to my knowledge, he's not their attorney.
Well, I think, if I can answer the question, not putting words in your mouth, but in construction, I mean, and Claire, correct me if I'm wrong, you know, lawyers can handle all different types of cases. But in this situation, to get someone who specializes in just construction, and not just for any issues that come up, but in our normal contracts to deal with construction, they're so specific regarding construction, it's good to go through an office of someone that does nothing but construction. And so we're not trying to take money out of someone's pocket that's already working for us, but we've just felt like that this was someone, and I've been asking for this for probably 2 years, that we get someone who specializes in construction on these big projects that we're working on.
Is the rate, you understand the rate is more than what the AG's office allows?
I talked with him, and he's willing to have the rate to come down to the AG's number.
So that's $350?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right, down here, Ms. Joy.
I got one question. So is this, are we trying to get into this one project, or are we going to try to keep it on retainer for our phases 2, 3?
It'd be advisable to keep him on with all these large projects coming forward. He can review contracts.
We're looking for the retainer, not just for this one particular project.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah. Well, you corrected the resolution to reflect the current state rate. You said it's $3.50 an hour, not $3.75?
We can correct that.
I mean, because it says $3.75 in this resolution. I think it's $3.50 now, correct?
It's $3.50, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, because this says different prices.
We can fix that.
I'm just not comfortable with this, the last minute decision like this. I know there's some issues with the roof. I think that there's been one meeting to discuss the roof, and I don't think we've even really attempted. I don't think our superintendent has really had an opportunity to speak with our architects about all this, and I feel like this is kind of a throw this to us today and let's vote on this tonight. I think we should do something about having a little more details about this. We're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on attorneys for everything. I would prefer us have a little more information before we agree to pay for all of this other stuff from another attorney. That's just my opinion. We may have some issues that need to be arbitrated, and I know we do, but I think We haven't got enough information until 2 weeks ago when you were on the roof, Mr. Toller, and sent a picture to the board that there was even an issue with the roof, other than a few leaks here and there, but not a major project. So we've not been informed of any of these things. I would like for us to have a little more information before we decide to hire yet another special counsel.
There has been more than one meeting. There's been numerous meetings between the project managers and
This board has not anything about it.
Well, the issue is going to fall into, if we let this drag on, I mean, I know we just found out about it, because I found out about it when you did. We're going to run out of statute of limitations as far as being able to have any recourse to protect us.
Then why hasn't the board been informed of major issues like this, is my question. And I mean, yeah, you got to rush now because we weren't informed prior. I think there's a lot more behind the scenes going on than we have been informed of, and I would like Ms. Tilley to be more involved in explaining to us this stuff, because we need to know as a board, we're making decisions on public funds, and I just don't think it's right to expect us to make a decision of this magnitude at such a short notice when we didn't even know there was a problem in the first place.
Okay, I was gonna, I think Terry, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not defending Terry, not defending this attorney, or whatever, but if I'm not mistaken, there was a major rainstorm this year, 2024, correct? That's what led him to find out that there was major problems with the roofing. They put shingles over rotted decking, at least seemingly. And anyway, so he found out the leaks were there. I was going to Punchbill's campus anyway. Tom and I showed up. Well, that's when we determined there was a major problem. So you've acted very quickly, so thank you for that. That being said, is there not any attorney in Tangipahoa Parish area that's a construction attorney? And again, I'll restate my previous question. Are you pretty certain that one of our attorneys on retainer is not competent, or not, maybe competent's wrong word, but not able to handle this for us? Or I'd like to hear your opinion on it. That's why I'm asking.
I'm just more comfortable with having a construction attorney that's versed in construction.
That was the look. It wasn't trying to I have no idea anything about this particular attorney. It's just the fact of getting someone who specializes in construction. And look, not just for that one Ponchatoula case. We're talking about to go over our contracts for phase 2, to go over these things so that going into these projects, we have someone who specializes in that, look over these contracts so that we know we're getting the best for our money that we're spending. It's not that we're jumping into this. We can hire him for 1 month and we can fire him the next month. That's not the case. Go ahead.
Does our contract provide for attorney fees to the loser?
I have to research that. It probably does.
Yes.
It does.
Mediation. If you went to a mediation on this, you wouldn't get granted. The contract calls first for mediation.
Our arbitration? Is it arbitration or mediation?
Mediation first, and then arbitration. We've already called the bond. The bonding company just declined it. So
Yeah, can you speak into the mic so I can hear you, please?
yeah, we called the bond a few months ago pursuant to the contract. This contract was prepared by your architects. Your architects prepare these big construction contracts because they're all standard forms under the American Institute of Architecture. So just about every major construction contract is the same. We review those when we're asked to, I do. Now, as far as, I don't think there is a construction lawyer in Tangipahoa Parish that handles just construction matters. I do a lot of that myself, and I've done that work for your board for 45 years. In that 45 years, we had to hire one construction lawyer who's actually over the Ponchatoula High School roof. We had litigation about that against the architect that designed it, not our current architects, some architects from Baton Rouge. And there was about a $2.5 million recovery. We spent $1.5 million on your attorney, though, to get that $2.5 million. So, look, I think you're in the rights to hire construction lawyers. This particular dispute's not that big. The bonding company got a bid to do that roof for $375,000, $350,000. There's 70-something still left in retainage. So what you claim back against the bonding company or the contractor would be around $300,000. In the scheme of things, that's not a big dispute. I guess my concern is hiring a New Orleans lawyer to come this far, but he's going to charge you travel every time he comes up here. You know, an hour and a half each way. Yeah. You might be able to negotiate the contract without his travel, so.
Or you might be able to get an office in Hamilton.
We might not.
Gotta go home every day.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Mr. Moore?
I got a question.
My question is, I'm looking at this resolution and I see an hour, but then we're saying it could be cheaper. I could hear that we might have to pay travel, and then we don't know that. I'm inclined. I'm not saying we need or do not need a construction lawyer, but I'm not prepared without the full facts here. Could we not bring this to a finance committee or a capital outlay committee once we've got the hourly rate ironed out, once we've got the travel ironed out, to make sure from this individual? Because, I mean, you're asking 9 board members to come in here and say, yes, let's just give them a check when we don't even know what the amount is.
Well, the hourly rate is ironed out. It's $350.
But that's it. No deal other than that.
Well, for tonight, yeah.
Okay.
No, not according to this resolution. If we accept this resolution, it's got all this stuff, you know, how much you're going to get for your phone calls and your document duplication, your printing costs, your expert witnesses. I feel like we're going to hire a $1 million lawyer for a $300,000 case. It just doesn't make any sense. If Mr. Moody's done this for 45 years, have we truly given an opportunity for our people and our superintendent to come to the mediation or arbitration on who's at fault and who's going to fix the roof before we decide to hire somebody else? That's my question. Have we truly done that?
What kind of time frame are we looking at as far as with this particular issue? When was this roof put on?
The roof was put on, well, it's 2 years now.
Okay, so when do we run out of time to?
I have to look back at the bond. and see.
Well, it's a 10-year general contract claim. Under the construction law, it's probably 5 years, so.
Okay.
Yeah, the clock's not really.
But the bond to file is short.
Yeah. And look, it's completely up to the board. I'm not pushing either way. I don't know this attorney. I don't think Mr. Valaruta knows this attorney. We were just trying to find a construction attorney that specializes in solving issues like this and to go over our contracts prior to getting into multi-million-dollar construction projects. But Mr. Anthony?
Terry, I know you're not a contractor, I understand that, but if you had to put a dollar amount on taking the roofing material off, taking the decking off, replacing the decking, replacing the shingles, what would be a dollar amount on that? And is that what you feel that those contractors now owe us, is that process? So what would you expect the dollar amount to be? And do you think it's removal of all roof covering, decking, replacement of all decking and roof covering? So those 2 questions.
We have to look at all that. There is a lot of depressed roof. There is a lot of roof that's depressed so severely that it's probably going to start falling in.
Yeah,
there's soft spots all over the roof for the decking from walking on it. There's a lot of issues with that roof.
No idea on a ballpark figure for that type of project. How much did it cost us originally? Let me ask that.
I think the bid price was $890,000 in that neighborhood.
Okay. Is that how much we ended up paying? Is it $890?
Right. Around
$1,000.
we have $76,000 in that project.
Yeah, in the retainage.
And this particular contractor abandoned the job.
Gotcha. Okay, so I'm ignorant when it comes to practicing law. I'm not an attorney, but is this not a pretty open and shut case? They did a horrible job. I mean, do we need a $400 or $350 an hour attorney? I guess, I'm asking legitimately. This is not a gotcha moment. I'm just trying to learn.
No, I got to. It's just in my project managers and us talking and discussing and going through this, talking with the bond, talking with everybody involved. And with all these multi-million-dollar projects coming on board, it's just better to protect the monies that we have from the taxpayers with a construction attorney on board, so that we can make sure that the contracts are better written, and to start off with this one.
Let's call for a vote.
The emails that I read, we've been working on this for quite a while. We thought we were working with the bond company to make good on the contractor problem. The problem is the bond company is now saying that it was an architect problem. They have pointed the finger at architects. So now we're in a situation where you have the bond company pointing the finger, the architect pointing the finger, and the contractor pointing the finger. So this isn't just a simple, yes, there's a problem, that's simple. What makes it not simple is whose fault is it? If the contractor's saying, I built it to architect specs, and the bond company's saying the architect specs or the architect inspections were deficit, we're not in a position to litigate that. That is for someone who has, I would say someone, whether it's Mr. Moody with contract experience, construction experience, or this attorney, someone who is neither in business with the architect, or in business with the contractors, or in business with the bond company.
Which is hard to find local.
Which is why it's hard local. I don't know if Mr. Moody has ever represented the architect, or the contractor, or the bond company, or if there's any issues there.
Right.
That was what we ran into when we started looking. I believe there was another attorney we'd already contacted that had to bow out because they said, oh, this is going to.
Right.
Okay. So I just want to clarify, this isn't a simple issue. It's simple that the roof's failed. It's not simple as to
What the
why.
solution is.
So
Right.
is it an urgent need that in the next 2 weeks, we can't discuss this a little further and bring it to the board at our next board meeting?
If you get up there and look at the roof.
Well, it's been an urgent need since Ida, but it's also been an urgent need to get the tarps off of Perrin, and it's still there too. And we also agreed to do phase 1 and phase 2, and we're still in phase 2, we hadn't done it. Those buildings should have been finished, so I think 2 more weeks.
Back to the topic. We're
2
on,
more weeks to wait for a
We're on this
contractor and to
agenda
get a
item
little
right
more,
now,
a little
so-
more information is what I'm asking.
vote's
to
been
put it
called
on.
for.
You know, I mean, that's-
Vote's been called for.
Are we going to vote as 375 or are we vote as
It's 350.
Okay.
350. Voting is now open.
Voting is a tie. Do you want to revote?
Oh, let's table it. Leave it as is. Okay, item 4A. Madam Superintendent?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. VP. Couple things. One is the Crew of Champions Parade this past Saturday. We had great weather. It was a great event, and I would like to thank everybody involved. Special thanks to our parking lot lineup crew. We had a crew in the parking lot who was helping to line up our floats and bands and stuff as they got there. Mr. Jenko, Dr. Purcell, Mark Vining, Mr. McNeely. We had Wes Jacobs from Hammond High School that showed up and was a tremendous help there as well. Mr. Bobby Matthews, and most all of our principals were there in the parking lot, you know, doing their thing, supervising, watching out for all the children. So it was truly a team effort, and I want to thank all of them for handling that. I want to remind the public about our community engagement meetings we have 2 more next week. So we have on Wednesday night at LaRonja High School, of course at 6 o'clock, and then also on Thursday night at Ponchatoula High School at 6 o'clock. Those will be our last 2 for this round for strategic planning. Also, I'd like to give kudos to Dr. Purcell and Ms. Sharon Spring, who submitted a proposal to the Model Schools Conference for us to present. At that conference, you know, the Model Schools is held every year in Florida, and it showcases school districts and schools and educators across the United States who have achieved success. And we were approved to submit in a session for our alternative certification program, which we started back in 2019. It was approved by Bessie, and we've had quite a few uncertified teachers come through that program. and get certified. So I wanted to share out that information. That's all I have for tonight, Mr. Toller.
It was easy. All right, I had recommended that we move public input up and do it before our personal privilege. Any objections to that? Do we have, Ms. Cindy, do we have public input forms?
Yes, sir.
No, I mean, do we have any filled out? I don't think they gave them to you, but we obviously want to. I saw them filling them out, so I want to make sure we didn't. All right, first we have Mr. Mark Chambers, and these are on just general input, correct? General input are 5 minutes?
Yes, sir.
So first we'll call up Mr. Mark Chambers from Independence.
How y'all doing today?
Good, sir.
We came to Hammond High School a couple of meetings before that to talk about swag, so I was just here to kind of reiterate a few things, but let y'all know some things that maybe y'all didn't beforehand. We started swag because some things were happening, and we wanted to give the kids an outreach program to come. We got games, we do food, and we'll have some kind of a movie, Christian-based movie or something of that nature, so that they can get out of wherever they're at or whatever kind of situation they're in and have a good situation to come to. And a lot of the kids that I've been coaching in Laranja for 10 years now, and I'll usually have 2 or 3 kids that are difficult to handle. And when you watch them, their parents will drop them off and then they're gone. I'm a babysitter for a couple hours, and then same thing on game days, and they're not really there. So you really don't know what kids are going through at home and what they're having to deal with, and then that, whatever you want to call it, anger or being misunderstood, comes out at school, and then it's not really dealt with that good there. And so we wanted to give them a place to know that, hey, you can come, you can talk to us, we're here for you, we're going to be here. If anything happens, we're going to be there. And also, things were happening at the school where kids were in the right and had wrong done to them, and nothing was being done. It wasn't really making up the chain of command, to my understanding. And accountability wasn't really being put out there. It would get so far, and then they would try to sweep it under the rug and say, oh, that's good, nobody's talking about it anymore, so we're just going to leave it be. So the other part of SWAG, besides having our programs once a month that kids can come, is to give a voice to the kids that don't have a voice. So we as SWAG are going to give the kids a leg to stand on, somebody that's going to be there to support them in whatever they do. So if them or their parents feel like, this happened to my kid, I asked for the principal meeting, I asked for a teacher meeting, I was denied these, we're going to be there to keep that going until something is done to justify whatever situation happened. I try to stay to myself. I don't really try to get in other people's business. I don't want other people in my business. But whenever it got brought up to me, it was pretty much brought up to me like kids were getting wronged and nothing was being done, and I'm going to stand behind kids 100%. Adults, I try to stay away from as many as I can, but kids, I like to see kids grow up. Like I said, I've been coaching for a long time, and I like to see them from when they couldn't hit a ball to we're hitting balls over the fence. And I think that people standing behind them and going forward with them and continue making forward progress in a good and godly manner will always end with good results. So I hope that we have the support of the board members in keeping whatever chain of command needs to happen, whatever cause and action needs to happen. If there's something that happens and it's supposed to go to the teacher first or the helper first or your parent first and then the teacher and then a principal or a disciplinarian or whatever that may be, we just want it to go that way. And it seems that in quite a few situations that hasn't been the case. And so we just want to make sure that that's what's going to happen. And we just wanted to give a godly outreach program for the kids to let them know Jesus loves you, we're going to love you, we're going to be here for you. And that if anything happens, no matter if it's at home or at school, we're at the school board meeting, so I'm talking more about the school, but even at home, if they're having problems at home, we're gonna be there to help them through their problems at home. If they're being bullied, I coached a kid who had to change schools, went to La Raja, got picked on, they brought it to the principal, nothing happened, the kid got expelled that same year. The next year, he was brought back into that school. The next year, they had problems with the kid got expelled again. The last I heard, the kid was going back into the La Raja school again, while the kid that I was coaching had to go to another school because he couldn't be around that kid getting threatened at school, getting bullied at school, getting it over the phone, changed phone number, did everything that they could do, and nothing at the school ever stopped that from happening. So in situations like that, we just kind of want to be that voice of the kid to get something out there, to get something going, to make sure that something happens, regardless of how that can be. So I thank y'all for y'all's time.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chambers.
Thank y'all.
All right, I yield the floor to Mr. Ryan Rivers. And just as a reminder, I didn't have to even tell Mr. Chambers, he already knew it, but during public input, we can't specifically call out a student or an employee during that public input. And Mr. Ryan, you already know that.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm loud enough.
No, you need it for the viewing audience.
I don't know if they can hear me. Can you hear me?
Ryan,
it's on
for the cameras.
Viewers. I said I wasn't going to give any Bible verses, but Matthew chapter 7, the wise and foolish builders, might be something good for us to read. I'm not going to speak more than that, but it may be figuratively and literally something maybe we need to read. I come up here tonight, as you know, I was here a month ago, and I asked some questions regarding some of the incidents we had with our baseball program. Kids being cut for a third trial at La Raja because we incurred a new coach. I asked you board members here, and if I'm not, and don't take this in the wrong way, but I think us as taxpayers actually pay salaries of board members and our teachers and administrators, whether it be enough. I don't have any control over that. But I think, and I understand in this situation you can't answer questions, but I would hope when we come to you after a third time, kind of like Mark did back here with swag, we still have got not any answers on that from anybody. Whether it's an email, a no, we don't want you involved in our schools to help improve the culture, or whether it's a yes, we get together and decide what we're going to do. We have got nothing. The accountability factor there is not very well, transparency, but where do we go when I asked the questions about that? So I emailed our principal 3 times in the last month and haven't got a response. Where do we go for answers for our children? Where do you go when your son has a stay-away agreement from an individual that's employed at school and has broke that stay-away agreement multiple times, and now he's not a school board employee, and he comes into your son's class at the end of the day, sits in a chair for 10 minutes. Where do I go for answers? Where do we go if a kid, we want our kids to improve. We say it's today's society. We say their parents aren't raising them right. But if our kids know our administrators and our school board officials are not doing their job properly, do you think they're naive and not smart enough to know if they do it, what can we do? So at the end of the day, instead of y'all just listening all the time, because y'all had a pulse up here tonight when y'all were fighting about a roof. It's amazing how your blood pressure goes up when you're fighting about a roof. But how about you fight for some of those kids and some of the people that stand up here and give you, like the lady 2-3 weeks ago with the bus route. I don't know what happened to that. But that's what you should be answering. The questions we ask you are not to ask you to not get an answer, for it to fall on deaf ears. It's to get something back from someone. When you email a principal, or you stand up here between y'all elected officials that we elect, that we pay your salary, I know it may be uncomfortable for you to answer questions, and you can't answer them while we're here, but how about you send us an email back? How about you get somebody to get in touch with us? Do we feel like our voice is being heard? Not but me. I don't care about me. It's about kids. I don't care if I hurt your feelings, whether you like it or not. What I do care about is the children. And the time I have left, I'm not worried. I will be finished. But I want to know why a school employee can be after he's not a school employee, be at the school and sit in the classroom with my son when he had a stay away agreement. If I can't get an answer from a principal, maybe one of your board members, maybe you, since you're my board member, can find that out for me. Maybe you can find out why our principal will not answer us for a meeting in person to find out why they did what they did to our kids. Maybe somebody will. Accountability, transparency, we just need it. Just answer us. Don't let it fall under the rug. Don't let it just, if they don't talk about it for long enough, they'll forget about it. We're not going to forget about it. We'll be here every 2 weeks. We'll have another parent here every 2 weeks. We're going to hold ourselves, y'all, and all our administration accountable because these kids need it. It's not about politics. It's not about who you know in our eyes. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. All right. Personal privileges. We'll start down. No, I'm going to start with Miss Rose, and she's got a horse on her.
A horse on my...
And they got the right colors on?
The Sumner Cowboys. I had to wear red, white, and blue for Sumner Cowboys. Thank y'all for making the trip up here to Sumner. We appreciate the open house and the refreshments that we were provided. That was a very nice touch. Just want to, clarify again, I'm elected to represent everybody in the parish, not just Ponchatoula, not just Champ Cooper. And anybody who knows me knows I have never just worried about my area. It's always all the kids, all the schools, and to make the best decisions and the best votes I can for the public dollar and the public students and the public teachers. So I just feel like tonight that was a rush thing. I think we need a little more time. I'm glad that we have an opportunity to discuss it a little further and maybe bring that back to the table, but that's just my opinion. I work hard every day to do the best job I can, and that's just how I am. So again, I would like to also thank the board members that went to Dallas for our National COSBA conference. We had a great session over there. We learned a lot. The speakers were wonderful. I think we learned a lot about what's coming down the pipe with technology, and several of us, discussed many things that throughout that conference, and it was amazing. This coming weekend, I will be passing the torch as the president of the Louisiana State School Board Association, and I will continue to be past president, and it's been a whirlwind year and a half, and I've loved every minute. I will still remain on the national board, and will continue to advocate for all the students and what's best for our parish and all across our Louisiana. So we do have a contingent of us going. I'm glad y'all are going to support me as I pass the torch, and we move to a new level. Also, I'd like to congratulate my Ponchatoula High School basketball team. They're going to state championship, so their next game is tomorrow night in Lake Charles, and if they win that, they'll go straight into championship game on Saturday night. So we're going to cheer them a rah-rah tonight and wish them well as they travel.
Mr. Westmoreland?
Forgot you ready.
Yeah. All right, I'd like to just say thank y'all, as Miss Rose said, for y'all's hospitality tonight. Appreciate everything that y'all have done. It's nice to come up here to God's country. I actually own some property in Wilmer, so I do get to come up in this area a good bit. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight, because a lot of times at these things we do not have a lot of communities that come out, so thank all of y'all. Thank you for your voice that you've said. As Ms. Stilley said, we still have a couple community engagements as we do our strategic plan for the next 5 years. So look into that. If you hadn't had a chance to come out and voice your opinion on it, please do so. And again, thank y'all, everybody, for coming out.
Anthony?
Thank you. I'll also thank Ms. Matthews. Appreciate you. You're still back. Thank you very much. I haven't been to Sumner's campus in 30 years. I'm not exaggerating. Thank you guys for public input too. I can't directly comment on the things you said, but I can promise you, I get a lot of issues brought to me from parents, and what I can guarantee you 100% is that we look into this stuff, and sometimes the answers coming back are slow. They're slow moving, but I can guarantee that if we feel like something's been done that's unjust, we're looking into it and we're working on it. I have some emails out regarding some issues that parents sent me just recently. So just sometimes the wheels of justice don't move very quickly. I can tell you this though, and I want to remind this to the people sitting in the room and to the community that fighting on campuses, we've made some really harsh penalties with this, and I want to remind parents to encourage their kids to behave on campus and to actually encourage them not to fight at all. But if they are going to fight, definitely don't do it on campus. A reminder of what our policy states is those who participate in fights or habits that are injurious to one another shall be recommended for alternative placement. So I want to just remind the community that there's harsh penalties for fighting. And those events that took place at Ponchatoula High School this week can simply not be tolerated. You're putting not only yourselves in harm, but also the rest of our staff members and our students. So I just want to remind the public one last time, I'll say that a fight on campus, you automatically are considered for long-term exclusionary discipline. So just reminding the public of that. And thank you again for the hospitality. And I'm glad we have such a big crew tonight. So thank you all for coming.
First thing I want to say is I have never came to Sumner. For somebody who has taught across this parish, I've never been here. But anytime a place is introduced as God's country, I'm glad I'm here, okay? So thank you for your hospitality. Thank you for what you do here on a daily basis. It's a beautiful campus, and I'm hoping to come back more often now. I also want to thank Dr. Wells for his donation to our schools. My biggest thing here lately, and we all get our seasons as we call it, right? My season right now is stepping up, being accountable and stepping up and being impactful to our communities and our students. Sir, for you donating this when you didn't have to just think of it out of the blue, to give back to your community is what I'm talking about. We have a lack of that happening in our younger people and our younger parents for people to stand up and help the community and the students that we represent. And I think we need that more than ever. So even to our people who come and spoke tonight, their passion about their students and their communities and their schools is really necessary because they are not, unfortunately, the norm right now. And so thank y'all for coming out here, holding us accountable, holding our schools accountable, and just simply caring to be here. I want to echo what Ms. Rose said about our basketball team at Ponchatoula High School. They will be going to the semifinals in Lake Charles. I'm looking forward to hopefully being at that game if my kids will allow me to. But thank you for the rest of the board and for administration for everything you do on a daily basis. Like Trent said, sometimes the wheels of justice turn slow. There's a lot of moving parts in our school system. There's a lot of people that get their hands on something. But I can promise in my situation, usually we get an answer or we get some form of a explanation. So hopefully we'll get some more out to these public that need it. But thank y'all for coming, and thank y'all for inviting us here to Sumner.
Mr. Moore?
Yeah, I would also like to commend Ms. Matthews for her hospitality, for holding the meeting tonight. And also to you, Dr. Ross, for donating the sculpture. I believe aesthetics has everything to do with heightening and enlightening the human spirit. So, I mean, it's a wonderful gesture that you make. Mr. Rivers, listen, I always appreciate seeing you out here, and I love your commitment to our children. I see my friend Dr. Hatcher is in the audience tonight. You know, and if you don't know it, Dr. Hatcher is also responsible for a conflict remediation that I'm hoping, I have a great deal of hope to see it make a difference and a change in the things that concern us. I want to give a shout out to all our teachers and to all of the staff because I am always appreciative of teachers. I mean, you guys have a job that I don't want. I know that I don't have the fiber to go into our schools and teach. It takes a propensity that not everybody possesses. But I do want to let you know that I appreciate you. I continue to pray for all the members, all of our employees in the school system, because you can't ask for greater help than that.
Good evening. Hold it.
You good?
Okay. It's on? You heard that beat. Okay, I just want to say to Sumner Cowboys, thank you for hosting us tonight. And you are in God's country. Now, we don't have the street lights, so I want you to be careful headed home, because we don't need the street lights. We got the possums and the coons that help us and guide us away. But we're glad. I'm just really enjoying this, going from school to school and hearing, because, everybody is so busy and everybody's running everywhere. We don't really get a whole lot of chances to visit every school. So this gives us an opportunity to come to you. So this has been really, really good going from school to school. So we're looking forward to keeping it going and coming to a school near you and for you all to come out and participate. Also, I'd like to say to our A-Meet Warriors, Lady Warriors, that we are so proud of you and the efforts that you did and all the hard work you did this season. We are proud of you. And I'd like to say that we are continuing to hold the Holmes and Sutton family in our prayers for the loss of one of our own who has been in our school system for many, many years, Miss Billy Holmes Sutton. And we just want to say that you're continuously in our prayers. Thank you.
Well, this was Mr. Toller's idea to go from school to school, and we thank you for this idea because we got an opportunity to come see what Sumner had to offer. We started off in Independence. We've been to quite a few schools across the parish, and it's great to be here out in Sumner. I feel like, Laranja, you're in God's country when you come out here, like everyone has said. I would like to say I answer my emails, I answer phone calls. If you don't call me and you don't email me, I don't know what your problem is. If I hear your problem, Mr. Jinko is on my speed dial, Miss Stilley is on my speed dial. I'm calling them immediately and telling them this parent, this student has an issue. But if I don't hear from you by email or by phone call, which is listed on our school Tangipahoa Parish School System webpage, I can't help you. So that being said, Independence, Tickfall, Laranja, if you're my constituent, I'd love to hear from you. I'll try to help you as much as I can.
All right. I'm going to give Ms. Dilly the last word, but just want to say, I appreciate the words of encouragement about being out here and being at our schools, but more importantly, why we do this, why we go around to the different schools is something we've talked about for a long time. Hopefully this year we're going to continue that and try to make it to all the schools. And it's obviously for parents sitting around this room to come. I appreciate their participation tonight, but it's also for us as a board member to walk these halls of this school, to look up and see ceiling tiles that have been there since 1981, to see floor tiles that need to be changed, to see fluorescent lights that are outdated and not energy efficient, swapped out with LED lights. We have a lot of campuses at the school. There's 400 students that go here. It's a very diverse population. It represents this whole community. We have a lot of students that come in from Kentwood that are bused in. So it's a very powerful school with a good history, and we have to continue to put money in our schools to keep them up. So I encourage you on the way out, please, just look around the school. I'm proud of this campus. I appreciate James Antoon and his class who printed this out for us, these pictures. You get an overall view, but everything looks good at 1,000 feet. It's when you get here in the classrooms, you start seeing outdated lights and outdated floor tiles and things like that. It's not the only school in our system like that. And it's not because we don't take care of our stuff, it's because the job is monumental to try to keep up with all these facilities. So getting out into the public and getting out into these schools with board meetings is important, and I appreciate everybody participating in that. 1981. 1981, and the cafeteria and the two wings were built first, and then later on in the 90s, they added what was then called the junior high wing, which is back behind here. And then eventually we built the middle school, moved junior high over there, made that a 9th grade hall. And then somewhere in the middle, we built this, added on the technology room for a computer lab when computers were humongous. But so the school has grown, and like I said, we still have a good population of students out here. We just have to continue to invest in that. But I appreciate the support from the other school board members. Administration, Ms. Matthews, Mr. Wilson, thank you for hosting us. Thank you for all that y'all do. And y'all know that y'all have friends on the school board. You can call at any time with questions. I do appreciate the school board. We just put in new lights. Mr. Valaruta helped us get new lights for our softball field, which was greatly needed. We had lights that were pointing into the woods, and the girls had a hard time playing tonight. And then while they were here, we went ahead and we did the boys baseball field too, our baseball field. So I appreciate the investment there with our lights on our fields. The parade this last weekend was a success. I like the fact that we added in the soldiers who had, the students who had committed to join the National Guard or any other service. Got a chance to parade them in the beginning of the parade, so I appreciate that. Fights. I'd be remiss without bringing that up. Unfortunately, every year it seems like we're plagued with fights at different times of the year. I really wish, I was in a conversation with someone a week ago and they said, I've got the answer, nobody will listen to me. I want to go back to that person and say, really, seriously, I'd like to know what the answer is. Because we all point the finger at parents and we point the finger at students and we point the finger at discipline and we point the finger at social class and all. But look, we really have to get a handle on this. I really would like to propose a policy, and I know it's probably going to be controversial, but I really would like to propose a policy where we either start talking about banning phones or phones be a privilege in our schools, and the first offense of any type of disciplinary thing that Coach Wilson has to bring, they lose their phone privilege. Because I know as a father of a 13-year-old, I can threaten her all day long, but if I take her phone from her, and I know Nikki's probably done that with hers, when you take a phone away from a child, you get their attention. And maybe that's what we have to start doing in our school system, is start taking their phones away from them, because we have kids that are filming other kids fighting before the fight begins. We know why they're doing that. They're doing it for likes, they're doing it for TikTok, they're doing it for whatever. So we have to get a handle on that. And just to clarify, one thing that was said earlier about a bus drop-off in Hammond that was brought to our attention last month, that was handled, I think, the next day. There was a resolution, and the kids are now being picked up at the bus stop. So things like that happen. It just takes time, and there's solutions, but there's a process that we have to go through. So I think that's all of my list, and I'm going to leave the last word for our superintendent, Ms. Tilley.
I just want to thank Ms. Matthews for hosting us tonight and her team. Thank you for hosting us tonight and your team. Appreciate it. And thanks for everyone coming out tonight. It's always a pleasure to see everyone. Thank you.
Absolutely. Mr. Duncan could not be with us tonight because he was feeling ill. I know he regrets not being here, but so we lift him up in our prayers as well. Thank y'all for attending, and this meeting is adjourned.